Hi everyone and welcome back. You already know all of the biggest names in the headphone kingdom. They are safe, respected and proven. But every so often something far more interesting happens. A headphone starts to emerge in someone's mind, and that's really where the story of the Bandoss Avija truly begins, because the Avija is not the result of let's capture some market share idea, but the result of literally one man wanting to build the perfect headphone for himself. That man is Francesco Catalano, or Frank as his close friends tend to call him. An artisan and also perfectionist who designed, polished, redesigned and polished again the headphones that I'm going to test today, and later compare with some of the best headphones that I have on hand. This will cost you 5,000 euros, so this is a very high-end material, and if you go with the special edition cable, everything will cost you 5,700 euros. This cable uses, as you can see, the same color scheme as the Avija, much better conductors, and let's talk about all of this. As you can see, they look unlike anything else already available on the market. I believe they are looking quite unique, striking, but cool looking nonetheless. Their ear cups are milled out of aerospace grade aluminum, which is basically indestructible. Everything is milled with a laser precision, with almost madman levels of attention to the smallest details. Their ear caps have huge openings that will move downward resonances outside, making the sound quite 3D and holographic. We have a strap which is built exactly as you wish, from leather, from snakeskin if you want, or you can go for a vegan strap if you wish so. The ear pads are huge and are made out of microfiber with memory foam inserts. These are super soft, squishy, and to be frank, these are some of the softest ear pads I ever used. The clamping force is a bit stronger than usual, but thanks to their soft ear pads, I can wear them for 2 hours non-stop, and personally, that is more than enough for a listening marathon. The good part is that I don't see any kind of pressure building on top of my head, because you can lock this strap in place with these 2 screws. So the only pressure that I can feel is only around my ears, right here, but I can wear this again for more than 2 hours. I believe that is more than enough. The last part that you need to know is that these weigh 592 grams, so these are some of the heaviest headphones that you can have, but still they are far away from some of the heaviest metal headphones like Abyss 1266, like Odyssey LCD4 or RZH Charybdis, which are considerably heavier. These are, however, getting lighter, and Frank is already working on a lighter frame, which will be revealed somewhere in 2025, so look forward to that. If you choose the special edition, then you'll get this third-party cable made by Marco Custom Cables, which uses much nicer conductors. These are OCC copper mixed with graphene, and we have an 8-core cable, so as you can see, it's quite thick, meaning that it shouldn't limit any kind of dynamic range or the bass impact. It will be the other way around. It will boost the bass impact dynamics without sacrificing any kind of inner detail or resolution or soundstage. It's very lightweight actually, it's very flexible, it lacks any kind of microphoning, so I believe this is a high quality cable. As you can see, it follows the same color scheme, and I believe it fits the Avija like a glove. And I must confess that this cable indeed sounds better compared to the stock cable. I can feel that the bass is tighter, it's bolder, it's stronger, dynamics are more impressive. Resolution is not going down, which is actually an amazing thing, and overall I'd say that this is a better cable compared to the stock one, and you'll feel immediately the difference in sound performance. So yes, I will recommend this cable to you and the special edition package. The Avijas are naturally open back planar headphones that use one-of-a-kind gold-coated drivers, so very similar technology we already saw on the HiFiMan Susvara OG. The impedance sits at just 44 ohms and we have a sensitivity of 89 dB, meaning that these are quite power-hungry headphones, and instead of gulping volts as many high-impedance headphones do, these are swallowing lots of current, lots of amperes. So if you want my recommendation, you should go with a Class A amplifier. For tube heads, I do recommend that Cain Soul 170HA or Felix Envy Standard Performance or Susvara Edition. For solid-state aficionados, you can go with that Barson Soloist Voyager or with the Indium AM23R. And if you want something much more affordable, then I'd say Awun S17 Pro Evo or Singxer SA2 or Theo K17 or the HiFiMan Serenade. So you have lots of options to drive these, but please do not overlook their sensitivity because these are pretty hard to drive. We have a double-sided magnetic structure, one is pulling, one is pushing, and from my own experience I believe that only double-sided headphones can truly unleash a crazy transient response and a crazy bass impact. And these are not your regular N50 or N52 neodymium magnets, these are the best magnets available on the market, N55 neodymium magnets, which represent the peak in magnetic strength, offering significantly higher magnetic flux and pull force. Only the magnets alone weigh 200 grams, and that's more than a third of the total weight of the headphones. But since are the highest performance available today, it was all worth it in the end. A double-sided magnet structure has just one single downside, and that is the price. However, considering the grip that I hear over the headphone drivers and the amazing impact in the bass, I believe that it's well worth it, but more about that in a minute. Alright everyone, and now let's discuss their sound. And this is where I got the biggest shock the moment I put them on my head, because I don't remember a single pair of headphones that I tried in the last 5 years or so that gave me goosebump moments once in like 3 to 5 minutes. So this was actually pretty amazing. Marco from Marco Custom Cables hinted that these might sound like an Odyssey LCD4 on steroids, and it was 100% right. These do remind me a lot about the best headphones that Odyssey ever created, with one big difference: these are considerably more technical sounding, so these are faster, snappier, there's more in resolution, more detail. The stage is more holographic and more 3D, and on the technical level, these are comparable with the HiFiMan Susvara Unveiled and T+A Solitaire PE, and let's discuss that. The most resolving headphones that I tested thus far are the HiFiMan Susvara Unveiled, closely followed by the T+A Solitaire PE and then by the Avija. The only problem I have with these two is that sometimes there are unhealthy levels of treble energy spikes that can ruin a short listening session. All of that, however, is completely missing on the Avija, and these do not have any kind of treble glare, listening fatigue, brightness, sharpness. That is all gone on the Avija. You can still hear a ton of nuances lingering in there, only their sharpness appears to be taken care of and their intensity lowered, relaxing the sound to a considerable degree. While this is one of the most organic tone and timbre that I have experienced in a pair of headphones in the last 5 years or so, I was surprised that these are also very technical and detailed sounding, outperforming some of my all-time favorites such as RZHK Ribdis, also Mese Elite, and pretty much outperforming even the HiFiMan HE1000 and Isvarna. After trying about every heavyweight planar out there, I had an aha moment because I realized that double-sided magnet-powered planars are the ones that deliver the thunder every time a bass note is landing on my eardrums, and they are also the ones that have a very tight control over the drivers, since one side of the magnets is pushing and the other side is pulling. And don't forget that these are not your regular N50 or N52 neodymium magnets, these are N55 that can provide up to 1.52 Tesla of magnetic flux. So these are very powerful magnets, and we have 200 grams of such magnets. What I want to say is that their transient response is really impressive. These are very fast, but more importantly, really hard slamming in the bass. These are dangerously close to bass head material, and I'm not exaggerating a single bit. I believe that these are more or less on the same level with the T+A Solitaire P and Abyss 1266, maybe a 5% give or take in terms of sheer quantity. I believe these are slightly lower than that, but not by much. Still very impressive in terms of bass quantity and bass quality. If you feed them the right power, ideally Class A power, then you'll immediately realize that Avija constantly delivers an extra dose of bass while maintaining impressively high resolution and low distortion. Without a doubt, this is one of the cleanest bass renditions that I ever experienced from a pair of headphones, and for bass-intensive music, it's borderline game-changing. With 97 by 90 mm drivers, these are some of the largest drivers that you can have in a pair of headphones, which are almost on the same level with a pair of Odyssey LCD4 and ZX Charybdis. And of course, combining this large driver assembly with deep ear pads, with deep ear caps, you can already expect an open and wide sound, and that's what we get on the Avija. These are, however, not really gunning for the most spacious and huge sound that I've heard from a pair of headphones. That crown is still contested by the ZX Charybdis and also by the T+A Solitaire P. These two are simply outstanding in terms of soundstage. The Avija, while not as expansive, I believe that they are offering a more cozy listening experience. Everything is happening a little bit closer to your face, and compared to the HiFiMan's best, I believe that they are bigger sounding and more holographic compared to Susvara OG, but they fall short compared to the Susvara Unveiled or HE1000 Unveiled. What truly sets apart the Avija is how beautifully the sound is breathing in and out, and it's not just sitting there, it gently expands in all directions, and you get this palpable sense of depth and airiness that many flagship headphones of today seem to lack. LCD5. I believe is that this open driver assembly and these microfiber ear pads with memory foam inserts play a significant role in giving the sound that 3D and airy quality, a sense of openness and space that's more important than sheer scale. Moving on to frequency response, they have a ruler flat bass and mid-range. Everything starting with 20 Hz, there is absolutely no roll-off in the bass. And as previously mentioned, these are really punchy and hard slamming in the bass. I believe quality-wise, these are pretty much on par with the Solitaire P, and this is the biggest compliment I can give to a pair of headphones. And quantity-wise, these are pretty much on par with the Odyssey LCD4, which I no longer have, and I'm constantly regretting for selling them, but these are much clearer sounding compared to LCD4. Not only faster, but there are additional nuances in the bass that you cannot hear on the LCD4. So the quantity of the bass is impressive, and the quality is also pretty much legendary, on par with the best planar headphones that I ever tried. Discussing their mid-range, the Avija are constantly reminding me why I love listening to music, why I love this hobby, because music is emotion and vibration combined. Music is life, and we need a connection with the music. With this on my head, I do not need some long rituals to get in the mood. I do not need a drink or a quiet moment. I just need to put them on my head, and everything else is of their making. Their mid-range is soft, it's sweet, it's seductive, and I believe that both male and female vocals are sounding as if somebody is singing just in your vicinity, and when everything is rendered so real, everything else is less important. The mid-range is where the soul of the music is lingering. Play it right and it will conquer your heart, but play it wrong and everything will feel plasticky and unreal. Avija offers some of the freshness and vividness, as if the music is a little bit more saturated. The colors, the textures, everything is a little bit boosted, and that includes the listening pleasure as well. The treble performance is quite a mystery. On one hand, there is no glare, there is no brightness, there is no listening fatigue. On the other hand, it is exactly as detailed and it's very transparent and clean as I'm getting with many flagship level headphones. While yes, there is a little bit of roll-off like at 4 kHz and 10 kHz and upper treble region as well, all of that sounds clean, defined, but without getting, that kind of over sharpness that I'm getting from something like Susvara Unveiled. So yeah, they slightly reduce treble intensity while detail remains fully intact. After years and years of exposure to treble intensive flagship headphones like this, for example, sometimes you want a more relaxed listen, so no bling bling, no exaggerated glare, and this is where the Avija is fitting in like a glove. From my headphone collection, I feel that only the T+A Solitaire and the HiFiMan Susvara Unveiled are playing on a similar level with the Avija. Everything else is just one step below, and let's talk about that. So these are much closer to each other in terms of tonality and technical performance. Both can be considered as benchmarks in terms of transient response and also resolution, detailed, absolutely fantastic in there. The only key difference between these three headphones is that I have zero listening fatigue, zero sharpness in the treble, and while there is some degree of that on both on the Solitaire and on the Susvara Unveiled. The Avija is just reducing the treble output and effectively eliminates all of the listening fatigue, something that can creep in the other two, especially on less than perfect recordings. If the fun factor matters to you a lot more than technical prowess, then Avija is one of the most fun sounding pair of headphones that I tried in the last years, followed by the T+A Solitaire P, by the Kenarton Arcona, by the HiFiMan Isvarna, a long pause, then by the HiFiMan Susvara Unveiled. And for me, fun factor is all about that bass, its kick, its sustain, some of that sweetness in the mid-range, something that we all have already on the Avija. The Solitaire P is exactly as impactful on the bass, but it's not so sweet and organic sounding in the mid-range, and I believe it's not really the best choice for acoustic music. Susvara Unveiled are super honest, super transparent, very detailed, but fun is not really their defining trait. You can add just a little bit of fun by using an R2R leather duck and a Class A tube amplifier, but I'd say that these two are much more fun sounding compared to the Susvara Unveiled. Tone and timbre are also where the Avija is shining most. I believe it's the one that offers me an experience that is closer to a real event than to music that was recorded in the past. It sounds quite real, quite organic, and it sounds very immediate, and I like that part. Soundstage and imaging, I believe that these two are winning. The Avija is much closer to the Susvara Unveiled than to the T+A Solitaire P. The Solitaire P offers me some of the largest soundscapes and the biggest pictures that I've experienced via headphones, and I believe that it's followed by the Susvara Unveiled and then by the Avija. The Avija is painting a smaller picture, and therefore I believe these are more intimate but also cozier sounding, and some of you might like this part. Last but not least, all three are quite inefficient and they will demand quite a lot of power, ideally desktop power. These do not work that well with portable devices. The easiest to drive is the T+A Solitaire P, followed by the Avija and then by the Susvara Unveiled. And here we have it, guys. I believe that we have three distinctly voiced headphones, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Wrapping up, the Avija reminded me once again why I started soundnews.ro in 2009, why I started soundnews.net and this YouTube channel in 2019. First and foremost, I did it for the love of music. I wanted to share with you all of my crazy ideas, all of my adventures, all of my failures. I wanted to find some hidden gems, something that you do not see sponsored on social media, things that somebody polished over and over again with their minds and hands. This is that kind of product. It's unique, and I do not know any other pair of headphones that sound similar, like really, really similar. I find them special in their own way, and I had so much fun listening to them and writing my article and shooting this video. And I know these are expensive and probably most of you cannot afford these, but if an opportunity arises, please do not hesitate and give them a proper listen, because you might be as surprised by the fun factor and by the natural tone and timbre as I am right now. Before you go, I also crafted a long written review for the Avija that on average contains about 4 times the information of this video, and more importantly, I also have a Q&A session that tells you so much more about Marco and Frank. Everything can be found in the description box below. It's a must read, so please check that out. One more thing, this was the most challenging year I had so far, so I want to thank you all for following, for sharing, for watching, for reading our content. It means a lot to me. Thank you all for your love and support. It will be repaid back in some way or another. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay tuned for more. The best is yet to come.